Rumors and renders of the new iPhone Foldable are out. Is it Apple's next big bet, or is it already dead in the water? That's why I want to talk about today in episode 26 of Tech with Josh. This episode is titled The iPhone Foldable Rumors, Apple's next big bet. What is an iPhone Foldable? It's an iPhone that folds. And if you've been a listener of this channel, you already know that I use a foldable phone as my secondary device, the Z Fold 7. And if you're new, my primary device is iPhone. And I am very big in the Apple ecosystem. I have a MacBook Pro I'm using right now, an iPad, Mac Mini, AirPods, a bunch of Apple TV, HomePods. So I do like Apple. But will I be getting the Apple Foldable? No. If that's all you want to hear, you have your answer. But let's actually dive in and talk about why not. Apple is new in the foldable. If they actually do create this phone, it'll be their first time making a foldable iPhone. Foldable phones aren't that new anymore. A lot of companies have them. Motorola, Samsung, Google, Oppo, OnePlus, Huawei. But Apple making it is showing that foldable phones are something that's here to stay. So it is a statement maker. The thing is, Apple has been trying a lot of things these past few generations. What do I mean by trying a lot of things? For phones, let's just focus on the phones. They had the mini phone, which some people loved. I'm a bigger person. I like a big screen, like a big phone. So that's why I have the Pro Max, since I never wanted a mini phone. And they killed it after 2 years because it wasn't selling. Apple then put out a Plus model, a bigger base model of the phone. And guess what? Didn't do well. What did they do next? They said, hey, let's make the iPhone Air a thinner iPhone with less cameras than the Pro models. And that really didn't do well either. Like, people who have it love it, but you have battery constraints, the camera constraints. So it is nice, sleek, but once again, I don't care about that. I have cases on all my phones. I don't use my phones bare. So for someone like myself, I prefer getting the best phone possible. And they also had the 16E, the economy version, I'm doing air quotes, which you can say isn't a great phone, but guess what? It is a top seller phone because of the price point. So I was listening to a couple creators about this, and someone brought up a good point. The iPhone Air is technically a test to see what people think about thinner iPhone. And here's the thing. The technology they're using in the Air is what they're going to use to make the Fold, because it's a thinner phone. You're not going to have a super thick foldable phone, especially in 2026. So by releasing the Air, they're seeing the traction it's getting. And that kind of battery technology that they're using, the way they're putting in, will be used on the Fold. And it's probably going to have two batteries, one on each side, like most foldables. But the thing is, they're going for that passport style of foldable. So like the Microsoft Surface Duo with the wide aspect ratio, or the original Pixel Fold. Me, I like a Z Fold 7. The Pixel Fold, the second gen or the third gen, went for the longer version, not the passport, because for media consumption, that passport isn't that great. For reading, it's okay, but that wider aspect for videos, it's weird. And me personally, I'm using my phone to remote log into my server, do certain things, spreadsheets, basically anything I want to do on a big screen, I do it on my foldable phone, web browsing. And a small, fatter display is not it for me. So that's one of the reasons I'm not getting it. Another reason I wouldn't be getting it is because it's a first gen product. I did a write up about the Z Fold, Trifold, and it's a first gen product for Samsung. So there are certain things that are bound to arise glitches. If you remember the original Z Fold, people thought the inner screen protector was meant to be removed, and they removed it and it broke the screen. The Huawei Trifold had glitches as well. First gen products are known to be a bit glitchy. And let's talk about Apple first gen products. The original iPhone, known as the 2G, did not have video recording capabilities, didn't have a flash, had a recessed headphone jack, so you had to use an adapter or specific headphones to fit in there. Didn't have copy and paste. It was a first gen product. It was revolutionary. Don't get me wrong. I remember when it came out. But it was a first gen product. The original iPad. Heavy, clunky, no applications, and no real accessories like we had with the iPad Gen 2, which was an amazing iPad. Was leaps and bounds better than the original. Same with the iPhone 3G. And we call the iPhone 2G because it lacked 3G capabilities when that was already a big thing. So Apple's often late to a party. As I just mentioned, the original iPhone didn't have 3G. The iPhone didn't get LTE till the iPhone 5. So the year before the iPhone 5 was the iPhone 4S that had HSPA Plus, that was something 4G-ish, that was only on in the States. AT&T had the capabilities to hit 42 megabytes. But guess what? When the iPhone 4 was out was when the S2 series was out. And I don't know if you know this, the S2 and the S1 Samsungs had LTE in certain variants. Exactly. Apple's always late to a party with certain things, so that's why it's become an ongoing meme. So with the foldable, they're late again, but by introducing a new aspect ratio, and also with folding phones, you have a feature on Samsung where you're on an app. Let's say I'm on the browser, I'm browsing, and I'm reading an article. I'm like, oh man, I can barely see it. I can open it, and guess what? When I open it, it's right there on the bigger screen. I don't have to go reopen the app, so they have to code that in. And if I'm on the bigger screen and I close it, the app will remain on the smaller screen and I can continue what I was doing. Apple, with the new iOS 26, has lost their touch with their software experience. The keyboard is horrible. You've probably heard this already. You press, it doesn't press the right ones. I'm making way more mistakes than I often make. And I'm on the developer version because I want the latest experience so I can use certain features. A new bug I have that just started happening today is on my screen on the bottom right. I have it set to my Apple Remote app. So I can just open up. And for some reason, that icon is just blank right now. I gotta probably restart my phone or something, but it's just things like that. And I know I'm on a beta. But these are the glitches you're going to have, especially with a first gen products. And now developers have to code their apps to work on this phone. Sure, the big developers already have info on it, case makers, things like that. So it is something that's being done, but it just introduces a lot of potential problems. And Apple has been releasing some newer products that they haven't had before, like the Vision Pro. I say newer, has been out a few years. Here's the thing. The Vision Pro is nice, but I don't have one. Why don't I have one? The price point is as expensive as my laptop. And it's a secondary device meant to be used with a laptop for productivity or for media consumption. But guess what? I have a Meta Quest 3 that I bought after Vision Pro came out because I was waiting for it to see if I was going to pick up a Vision Pro. And the Quest 3 was a fraction of the price. I got it on sale for like $300. But Apple charges a premium. And I'm not trying to compare the displays because they're not comparable for the tech used inside. But I feel like Apple's going to overdevelop the iPhone Fold and the price point is just going to be unreachable. Mind you, my Z Fold 7 costs $2,000. I'm willing to spend the money on the tech I want to enjoy, but Apple is known to be a bit pricier, and with just the rumors of the features, stuff like that, it's going to be north of 2 grand in my opinion. And the problem with that is you're getting a first gen product. A lot of people saying, "Oh, Face ID, you're losing that." I have the Android version of Face ID. It doesn't work the greatest, but guess what? I'm using the power button fingerprint. I love having a fingerprint on the power button. I wish Apple had that as well, because I would constantly use that, or put on the camera control if you can. Face ID is great as well, but sometimes I'm wearing a hat, it doesn't really pick up. But Face ID is still hands down my favorite way to unlock a phone because it's just quick and efficient. You won't have that on the iPhone Fold. You're not going to have the same cameras from even the Pro version, not even the Pro Max, which sometimes has like a better zoom, but you might not have the same cameras from the base model iPhone. Prime example, let's look at the Pixel series. The Pixel Folds versions of the phone don't have the greatest cameras. They still have good cameras, but it's not as great as the regular Pixel cameras because you're getting a lot more components inside to make it a foldable, and it's thinner. So you could fit less sensors, things like that. The Z Fold 7 camera is good. It's not as great as the Ultra, which comes out half a year before it. And as I mentioned, because the phone is so thin, you're having a huge trade-off when you get a foldable. You're trading off durability because those hinges can only open and close so much. And you're trading off on the camera and also battery life. The battery life will suffer because you're pushing a larger display. The bigger the display, the more battery it uses. Apple is late to adopt technology, so we don't know if they're going silicon carbide, which they can fit bigger battery because it's a solid state battery. It's the whole thing. That's what most of the new Chinese phones use. But if Apple doesn't use that, who's to know how long the battery life will be? I like the Pro Max because it has the biggest battery, and when I'm out and about and just riding the train, listening to music, multitasking, taking pictures, I'll get home 50-60%, which is great. But the Air right now, people aren't really making that through the day with it. They're ending the day maybe at most 20%, 10%. I walk around with a portable charger, so I could do with a small battery phone, but it's just in case something happens. I leave the charger. When I get a new phone, I'm going to play with it. And it's just the peace of mind at the end of the day. This phone might be good, in my opinion. I'm not getting it because I don't think it's going to be that great. I hope I'm proven wrong, but with, like I said, their previous track record of all of the previous phones they've released and killed off, they don't perform well. And if you're buying an iPhone foldable, you have to have the dollars to pay for it. Like I said, easily north of 2,000 in my opinion, just from regular foldables, especially a first gen Apple product. If my Z Fold 7 starts off at 2,000, Apple's going to follow suit or hit it a little bit higher because it's their first one to try to recoup some of the cost. The software won't be there day one. Hopefully, they figure out iOS 27, how integrated for that. That'd be great, but just give us what we really need, Apple. And that is a touchscreen Mac that we won't get because they're not Apple sales of iPads. But that's basically it for this episode. It's more of a rant, but this is why you tune in with Tek with Josh, because you want my honest opinion on certain products. And guess what? When it comes out, I'll go to Apple Store, play with it. I'm definitely not buying it because any of the tech I buy, I'm using my own money. Apple doesn't send me anything. Samsung would never send me anything. I'm just going there, trying out stuff. And if it's a product I really want, I'll buy it. But this is definitely not one of them. If you enjoyed this episode, I want to thank you for making it to the end. And if you want to find more of my voice, you can find me out on Books by Josh Audio Immersion or Manga with Josh. But that's it for this episode. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.